Thank you, MC. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker today, this morning, who is going to talk about promoting peace globally, the reviews of peace in global context. This is a topic which we should all be deeply interested because we would like to hear and share why we must promote living in a peace. Due to some deteriorations of conflict in some of the countries in the world happened in Egypt, Turkey, and Cyprus, Myanmar, as well as issues on refugees in Syria, Lebanon, and Libya. Our speaker is Dr. Wan Muhammad Nazdrol bin Wan Muhammad Nasir. He's a Deputy Dean of Student Development and Entrepreneurship from University Malaysia, Kelantan, Malaysia. Holding PhD in Marketing and Entrepreneurship from University of Victoria, Melbourne, Australia, and also a member of WPF UNESCO. So I'm most honored and I would like to be grateful if you help me to welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Wan Muhammad Nazdrol bin Wan Muhammad Nasir. Give him a round of applause.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Distinguished guests, speakers, moderators, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? I hope you enjoy this morning. And then for those who are still outside, may I call to come inside because I will start very soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, today I will deliver a speech on promoting peace globally, the review of peace in global context. So that is the title of my speech today. And ladies and gentlemen, what is peace actually? I'm sure that we all have our own definition of peace. According to Albert Einstein, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. So there are two main key points here actually, which is the force or enforcement and understanding. These elements are interrelated. All right? Even though that we have understanding among each other, there still need the existence of enforcement, or the vice versa. Even though there is an enforcement, but we still need understanding between two parties actually to achieve the peace. So that is Albert Einstein's perceive of peace. And how about you? What is peace means to you? Now, let us take a look on how a group of youngsters perceive peace.
Peace is it means that you can make peace by making your body be calm. If you need the space, you just scoot.
Settle and quiet.
When you're listening to other people,
Just being calm. You can be free to be creative.
Family.
Harmony. A state of enlightenment.
For me personally, like being asleep, like I think it's probably one of the more peaceful things you can do. whenever you get to do exactly what you love.
Community.
Being content.
Not being afraid to go where you want to go, do what you want to do.
Fulfilled.
The element of being nice to someone.
That you have space for yourself. Pretty. Pillows and blankets and beds. School. It will look great. Being quiet.
Being able to agree on things and compromising.
Taking care of your friends.
Probably treating others the way that you would want to be treated.
People playing.
Setting aside differences to come together for the greater good.
It would look like a place that had direct communication as a real basis.
Really big trees. I feel like trees make people nicer.
People think about other people before they say stuff. Just being chill with one another.
Respecting everyone's opinion and not judging anyone. Probably Cavelli. I just feel so loved here and it's a big community.
So this video shows that how simple the perception of peace. You don't have to look on the encyclopedia or dictionary for the definition of peace. Well, for me, peace is able to humbly stand here in front of you and giving this lecture. And I think for WPF, peace is when we can gather the audience, everybody today, and enjoy the convention. All right, so we can move to the next slide. All right, thank you so much. Before we understand peace, actually, we need a moment to revive, to remember ourselves what is conflict. All right. So of course we want peace to avoid war or conflict. What is war actually? The word war comes to English by the old High German language word Wehren, W-E-R-R-A-N. It means to confuse or to cause confusion, and is a stable of open and usually declared armed conflict between political entities such as sovereign states or between rival political or social factions within the same state. Well, if we can look on the earliest conflict in history, the first point, chronicles of constant strife in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is actually the earliest civilizations. Well, in Greek, Mesopotamia means two rivers, which are Tigris and Euphrates, and exist during the 4th millennium before century. Even during that time, there are war, there are conflicts already. And the second point, Pharaohs conquered northern Egypt. Pharaohs actually exist during the early dynastic period between century 3150 to 2616 BC. All right? So it's not weird actually in Egypt if there is a conflict until now, because it started even during the earlier civilizations. All right? There was in Europeans, in Africa. How about we take a look on the Asian side, actually. Zhou dynasty gained ascendancy through battle in 1046 before century. All right. In Asia, Zhou dynasty is one of the earliest dynasties, followed by Shang dynasty and preceded by Qing dynasty. That's the story happened in Malaysia. And as well as in Europe, actually. In Europe, the success of Scipio Africanus in the defeat of Carthage in Rome between 236 to 183 before century. All right, and this is now it's in Tunisia. All right, the place is the Battle of Zama in Tunisia. Okay, so that is the earliest conflict in history that man have ever known. Okay, in modern world, let us look on the First World War. All right, First World War starts from 28th of July 1914 until 11th of November 1918. So actually the conflict, the war, lasted for 4 years, 3 months and 14 days. And during that period, around 8.5 million soldiers died and more than 13 million civilizations died. But more than that, actually, war caused huge, it caused so many things, so many other things. All right, if we can have a look on the point number 1, the First World War starts after the assassinations of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand by South Slav nationalist Gavrilo Princip on June 28, 1914. All right? There was 2 sides of the war, the triple Ententes, or the allies, Britain, France, Ireland, and Russia, and the other participants as well as Bulgaria, the France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Ottoman Empire, which is known as Turkey today, Portugal, Russia, United Kingdoms, and as well as United States. The Central Powers on the other side were Germany and Austria-Hungary. The result of the First World War, actually, is the collapse of imperial dynasties such as Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Ottoman Empire, as well as Russia. Not just that, actually. The introduction of the chemical weapon were first used in World War I. And due to that chemical weapon, it is mentioned that it's developed the Spanish flu that affected the troops and refugees. And this devastating pandemic killed almost 50 million lives, 50 million to 100 million in 1918 to 1919. All right? And these numbers is actually 3 to 5% of the world population, and making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in human history. That is the result of the First World War. All right. We can have a look on the Second World War. All right. It is known as the deadliest conflict. Just now is the bloodiest, I've mentioned the deadliest natural disasters, but now is the deadliest conflict in human history. So most fatalities were civilians in the Soviet Union and China. It included massacres, the genocide of the Holocaust, strategic bombings, premeditated death from starvations and disease, and the only use of nuclear weapon in war. The nuclear weapon started to introduce during the World War II, actually. Well, the World War II started after an uneasy 20 years of hiatus dispute left by World War I. And the participants are Canada, China, France, Germany, Italy, India, Japan, as well as Soviet Union, United Kingdoms, United States. So these form 2 opposing military, the Allies and the Axis. In general, it involved more than 100 million lives, 100 million people, and as well as 30 countries. All right? So World War II started when Britain and France declared war on Germany, on which the Nazi Party ruled by Hitler want to rule Europe and start to invade Poland. After the Nazi Party invade Poland, then the Britain and France declared the World War II. And it started on 1st of September 1st of September 1939, and some said that it started on 3rd of September 1939. It depends on the historians, actually. Well, by summer 1941, Nazis or Germany had invaded France, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, Denmark, Norway, Greece, Yugoslavia, and USSR. In Asia, on the other part, Japan wanted to control Asia and Pacific. All right? World War II actually cost 60 to 100 million civilians who died and involved more than 17 million of soldiers. The end of the World War II come when the leader of Nazi Party, Adolf Hitler, suicide on 30th of April 1945. And suddenly the power getting weakened. And 7 days after the suicide of Adolf Hitler and the less than 40 hours wife, Eva Braun or Eva Hitler, Germany unconditionally surrendered on May 7, 1945. That is on the Europe part. And then on the Asian part, actually, the Japanese surrender on 2nd of September 1945, which was brought by the US dropping atomic bombs on the Japanese towns of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So that event happened on August 6, 1945. And the results of World War II is actually devastating. But one of the famous cases, one of the famous stories that I would like to quote here is the Anne Frank, one of the most discussed Jewish victims of the Holocaust. And she gained fame posthumously with the publication, The Diary of a Young Girl. So the diary started from June 14, 1942 until August 1st, 1944. And it's been published more than 60 languages. So it's a heartbreaking story. If you have a chance to read the diary of Anne Frank, you know how hard it's actually to live during the war, which we are now, most of us is forget all of those things. All right. World War II actually resulted in the beginning of the nuclear age. All right. The dissolutions of the League of Nations, the creation of United Nations, and as well as the beginning of Cold War, which lasted until 1990s. All right. However, even after the World War II last long time ago in 1945, well, let's see the face of the current world today. All right. So due to those matters, actually, the UN was established, United Nations. All right. So United Nations is an international organization founded in 1945, and there are around 193 member states, members of General Assembly. The first name coined by US President Franklin D. Roosevelt during the Second World War, and the role is to promote and secure international cooperation and to create and maintain international order. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the first document to detail the fundamental human rights that must be protected. The declaration was proclaimed by the General Assembly in 1948. Security of human rights are the key pillars of UN's network. The UN assists people displaced by violence, conflict, and persecution. The UN and its agencies provide life-saving help to refugees and forcibly displaced people. As we can see today, there are more than 60 million forcibly displaced people. The UN brought countries together in 2015 to launch a plan to end poverty, reduce inequalities, and protect the planet by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals provide a common blueprint for countries to reach a world of dignity for all by 2030. The organization won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2001, and a number of its officers and agencies have also been awarded the prize. And it's not just United Nations, actually. The UNESCO has been established to tackle on certain issues. UNESCO, or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, was established on November 4th, 1946. And it is a specialized agency for the United Nations. To contribute to peace and security in the world by promoting collaboration among nations through education, science, culture, and communication, to spread the universal respect for rule of law, freedom, and human rights. UNESCO is the agency for preservation of ancient culture and also cultural monuments. UNESCO's World Heritage Program, which helps poor countries to protect their ancient treasures, was established by the US in 1972 and in no way affects US sovereignty or public or private property rights. It simply recognizes and supports sites and monuments of world-class beauty. And besides that, UNESCO looks to the US for participations and leadership in its human rights, such as forums, and in the construction of human rights and democratic citizenship curricula in developing countries and countries in transition. UNESCO's mandate is to further universal respect for justice, the rule of law, and for the human rights and fundamental freedom which are affirmed for the people of the world. All right? So we hope that these two organizations is actually able to take care more problems that we are facing today. Okay? Despite that, it's better for us actually to check on the Global Peace Index. And I do have here, actually, the Global Peace Index. That is the current one in 2018. This report presents the most comprehensive data-driven analysis to date on trends in peace, its economic value, and how to develop peaceful societies. As you can see, Afghanistan, South Sudan, Iraq, and Somalia comprise the remaining peaceful societies. The 2018 Global Peace Index uniquely reveals that peacefulness has a considerable impact on microeconomics performance. So that's why actually we are all longing for peace because of the prosperity. In the last 70 years, per capita growth has been 3 times higher in highly peaceful countries when compared to countries with low level of peace. Peacefulness is also correlated with strong performance on a number of microeconomics variables. Interest rates are lower and more stable in highly peaceful countries as the rate of inflation. Well, as you can look actually on the 2018 Global Peace Index, deterioration in 4 most peaceful regions, it shows that the state of peace is actually, getting smaller. All right? Such as Europe, North America, Asia Pacific, and South America. Iceland remains the most peaceful country in the world, a position that it has held since 2008. All right? The populations of Iceland is around 350 to 400,000. And ironically, the difference between Iceland and Greenland is Greenland is covered by ice, wherever the Iceland actually is such a green place. All right? And in Greenland, just to mention a few facts, there are just around 50,000 residents there. Okay? Western European country experienced one of the 5 largest deteriorations, with Spain falling 10 places in the ranking to 30th, owing to internal political tensions and an increase in the impact of terrorism. All right? And at the 2018 Global Peace Index, the red color signifies the most hostile place compared to the green color, which is considered as the most peaceful place, actually. And if you can have a look, Malaysia is still green, even though it's not the dark green, but we are still in peace. And it shows that during the last election, the transition of power happened in a very, very smooth state, actually. And we are proud of that. As a Malaysian, we are really proud of that. All right? Okay, and in the Middle East, just to briefly mention that it currently encompasses the area from Egypt, Turkey, and Cyprus to the west, in the west to Iran, and the Persian Gulf in the east, and from Turkey and Iran in the north to Yemen and Oman in the south. So these regions actually is a conflicted regions. And they have some complete revolve in Syria as well, the Palestine, Iraq, the post-Arab Spring issues. So the destruction of country peace and development actually resulted in loss of lives. That is the case of Middle East. All right? This is the case of Korean Peninsula. The war ended decades ago, but fears still remain. North Korea spent $1 billion on the military assets, but citizens' life remained poor and country's development left far behind. But actually, to tell the truth, all the facts is all based on the according to the mass media, according to the written publications. we don't really know what happened there. Okay? So what being reported is what we are perceive. All right? However, recently there are peace talks between US Presidents Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un from North Korea in Singapore. As you can see, US always take, United States of America always take the initiative to bring peaceful among countries, or maybe the vice versa. All right, so it depends. Okay, it's not just that. We have a look on Myanmar. All right, Myanmar is actually one of the continuous issues since last year, as the pressure had been given to Rohingya community and they become the refugees. Some of the refugees seeking shelter, mostly in Bangladesh, but some in Malaysia as well. And the role of UNCHR for solving vast refugee number is actually very important at the current moment. All right? However, we look in some perspective. This is the human rights activist. The human rights activist, and all of you know Aung San Suu Kyi, the human rights activist. And she said that my attitude to peace is rather based on the Burmese definition of peace. It really means removing all the negative factors that destroy peace in this world. So, peace does not mean just putting an end to violence or to war, but to all other factors that threaten peace, such as discrimination, such as inequality, and as well as poverty. But at this recent moment, actually, Aung San Suu Kyi is getting a lot of criticism from everywhere. And, just a few days ago, we've heard that Amnesty International has withdrawn a prestigious human rights award from Aung San Suu Kyi and described a shameful betrayal of the values that she once stood for. And for your information, Aung San Suu Kyi was awarded the Ambassador of Conscience Award. And the issues, the news keep on pouring daily, even at this moment of time, actually. The last news can be, a few minutes ago, when people keep on pressing her and pushing her to take the issues of refugees, as a better actions, actually. And same things with North Korea that I mentioned before. We actually don't really know what's going on, the real situations over there. All right, because of course Aung San Suu Kyi denied such problems, but from what reported from the media, from the social medias that we've known, there is a terrible thing happen in Myanmar that caused the Rohingya to flee the country to Bangladesh or to other countries,
Dr. Nazdrol,
such as Malaysia.
You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, and still, there are some ongoing conflicts as well in the Philippines. The conflict between various militant groups and the governments, which claim thousands of human lives and hindered countries' development. It's undeveloped resource and vast potential land for agriculture is such a waste, actually. When there is a conflict, the resources are underdeveloped, and it's such a waste to the nations. And these are the issues on the refugees. Can we have a look? Some issues on the refugees. Exodus of refugees from Syria, Lebanon, and Libya to Europe. Same issues like the Rohingya before. Tremendous refugees problem in European countries, burden on socio-economic impact for the countries involved. That is the result of war or conflict that happen nowadays. So, next slide, please. So this is actually the main point of my lecture today. All right, how we would like to promote peace. Okay, for me, there are three elements on how you can promote peace. It comes from personal, it comes from the community, and it comes from the education. All right, so we will try to promote unity, try to promote justice, and try to promote kindness as well. I am a marketing person. I taught marketing and entrepreneurship at University of Malaysia Kelantan. And this is how I promote peace, giving lecture and education to the students or to the audience. To promote peace starts at an individual level. We all have our own purpose or duty according to our own area or niche. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, politicians, we all can promote peace accordingly. And how you can promote peace, ladies and gentlemen, you can ask yourself. All right, that is on the personal level. For the community level, things that you can promote peace is to become more familiar with your community. And you can plan a peaceful event like what we have today, actually. And we can explore more volunteer opportunities. And of course, there are many more to mention. And for the education, I would like to request, ladies and gentlemen, you can visit Promote Peace Education website, PEACE, where there are many models that can we adopt. It is not a rocket science, actually. Peace is not a rocket science. It's just on how we can implement at our educational system or at our curricula. It's all about mixing the peace element in our systems. All right, just a little bit more. All right, the next slide, please. The significance of peace and proper. This is nothing strange to us, actually. When we gain peace, these are the things that we can enjoy, that we can benefit. The first one is the revert usage of money spent on military purposes to social well-being, to the physical development of the country, to educations, or to other economic activities. And also we can enhancing life quality in drug and hunger-stricken countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, and etc. actually. So the money that's supposed to spend on military, you can move to that part. And it also will create conducive relations between nations and love among the nationalities. And last but not least, of course, it will encourage people to move freely among nations, create opportunities for global tourism activities, economic activities, and as well as the cultural exchanges that's been promoted by UNESCO. All right, and a little bit of words of wisdom, all right? Actually, in every races or in every religions, they are all promoting peace, all right? And these are the words of wisdom from Surah of Al-Baqarah 190 to 191. And I also would like to quote some word of wisdom from a very famous person. That sounds very simple. Of course, it is simple. She said that, what can you do to promote world peace? And the answer is, go home and love your family. It gives us a very deep and big meaning, actually. Peace starts from home. For the children to enjoy a nice upbringing in a good family, I think they are able to become the next generation that value peace and able to promote peace themselves as well. As what mentioned by Eleanor Roosevelt, it isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Another quote from Mahatma Gandhi, an eye for an eye only ends up making world blind. And I'm sure you can translate in many ways. So what is peace to you? So today I would like to conclude that peace is an ongoing issue and worth to discuss and to promote and to learn from each other in making sure the survival of the next generation. That's all for my speech today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just in time, Dr. Nazdrol. Right. Please. Thank you, Dr. Nazdrol, for enlightening presentation on promoting peace globally. Peace is on ongoing issues and worth to discuss, promote, and learn from each other in making sure the survival of next generations. So as been proposed, there are 3 ways to promote peace is through personal, community, and education. So since we have a limited of time, I open only 2 questions from the floor. If anyone thinks to share, to comment, and probably, give some ideas on issues related on peace. Yeah, please go to the nearest. Yes, please, sir. Thank you.
Hello. Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is Azman. I'm an engineer by profession. Okay, let's talk about peace as opposed to wars and conflicts. However, historically, we have seen that war and conflicts has sparked the innovation of technology. For example, during the Cold War, we've seen the highest level of human achievement when we send humans to the moon. So my question to you, Dr. Wan, do you think in a peace-only environment, there will be the similar kind of push and spark in terms of technology innovation? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That very nice gentleman. Well, it's a very tricky question, actually. He mentioned that during the war and conflict, we innovate and create something for benefits of human life. Is it true? All right. So instead of peace, are we able to come out with such innovations or such technology, actually? Well, the answer is quite simple for me. Yeah, of course, humans, when they face some problem, they tend to have something to solve the problem. All right? So when there is war, which is the problem, and you need something to solve the problem that, occurred during the war. All right? But I think in peace, in the state of peace, even though there is no conflict or there is no war, there still an innovations can be created. But maybe on the other sense, actually. So it does not need war or conflict so that we can innovate on or that we can achieve something. All right, thank you. Any more questions?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
My name is Muhammad Shah Mahmadar. I'm a student, PhD student at University Technology Malaysia.
All right.
So my question is the difference between peace and instability. To my understanding, instability leads to war or it destroys peace. So it is important to focus. So most of the narratives or literature on global conflicts, I see that they focus on peace. And if you put all these findings into an end and establish a peace, then there is no stability. So how to create a peaceful environment without compromising stability. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Sir, I need to understand your question. So your question is how we can create peace, all right? Can you repeat? Can you repeat the questions, please?
So my question is this: peace and instability are different.
Peace and instability are different. Yes. Yeah.
Still, you see some countries, they are very peaceful and they are not stable. And to my understanding, instability is the major cause of that destroys peace. So why international interventions focus on peace rather than instability?
All right. Okay. All right. Well, it's really a good question. To answer your question, I would say that for every sovereignty or for every countries, they have their own laws. And sometimes this international program, they cannot just jump into that country and solve the conflict that happened. We can give them pressure, but we can directly stir the rules or the law or the things that happen inside the sovereignty or inside the country. So instead of we taking care of instability, we try to promote peace because we thought that peace is actually can cool down the instability. I think that makes sense rather than we tried so hard, from the outside to solve the instability of a certain community or certain countries, actually. Thank you.
All right, can I output? Yes, sir. Please, sir. Thank you. Can you go to the nearest microphone there, at the back? Okay. You get one there in middle also.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Darby. I'm a pensioner. First speaker, just now you quoted Surah Al-Baqarah, where the opening verse was that, fight in the way of Allah. Do you think that the present attack by Saudi Arabia, the guardian of the Holy Land of Mecca, on Yemen, is a fight in the way of Allah? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I don't get your name just now, a very nice gentleman over there. All right, okay. We are actually confused our fights for religion, our fight for Islam, and as well as our fights, for the sake of politics or for the sake of powers. So which one of which most of us actually tend to mix everything up. So sometimes people quote Islam, but the action is actually towards the terrorism. Islam that I know is only teach us the values of virtuous, value of peace. All right? So I think it's totally not actually the teaching of Islam to invade the other countries, but maybe because of the desire, the other desire, the political, the powers, or we never know what's going there. But all that we should know is that the values for every religion is all about promoting peace. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you. Probably give me one last question before we move to the next speakers. Is there anyone? One last question. Yes, sir. The nearest microphone there.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. I'm Amin from Kota Baru. So you just said the three things to promote peace. Is one by individual, second is by community, and the third one is the education. So my questions for you is, what kind of education that educate peace? That's it.
All right. Well, just now, Mr. from Kota Baru. I'm from Kota Baru myself, actually, and we are so lucky to live in a peaceful state, and we still can enjoy nasi lemak or nasi belau that just cost us $2, You know, it's very cheap compared to what you can have in Kuala Lumpur. All right, so the 3 ways to promote peace starts from personal, community, and education is actually the simplest ways. There are 100 and 1,000 ways that we can promote peace. But if you understand these 3 basic ways, I think we can explore more. Throughout the educations, it starts at home. As mentioned by Mother Teresa just now, how you can promote peace? Just go back and love your family. So the family institution is very important, and how the government able to supply these values throughout the children, throughout the families, is something that worth to think about, actually. It's easy for us to adapt some curricula or some programs, but we need to understand deeper than that, actually. So I think peace has been taught in many ways, but how you can promote peace according to the small children that age between 3 to 5 years old, as you've seen in the videos just now, is a very significant. Because what the children believes, you know, they will carry with them until they are grown up. And it's very important because they will become the next generation, they will become the next leaders, the next world leaders. And if they don't get the values right, we are all going to be in troubles, actually. We might not live up to 50 years, but the children at the age of 5 or 6 years old, they will continue to live for more than 50 or 60 years from now. So it's very important to promote peace at that stage, at that level, actually. And it's supposed to start at home. I think that's the way it is. It's just my perception, my 5 cents of thought. Thank you so much.
Well done, Dr. Nazdrol. He's a brilliant young man. Right, give him a round of applause anyway. All right, we give away for the next presenter. So, MC, get back to you. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the first paper presentation. We would like to thank Dr. Wan Muhammad Nazdrol bin Wan Muhammad Nasir, Senior Lecturer, University of Malaysia, Kelantan, for being the presenter. And we also like to thank Dr. Jati Kasuma bin Ali from UITM Sarawak for taking the role as moderator for the session. As a token of appreciation, we would like to invite Honorable Saudara Muhammad Hafizul Dato' Ahmad, Head World Philosophical Forum Malaysian National Branch, to present souvenirs as a token of appreciation to both. Please welcome. And first, please welcome Dr. Wan Muhammad Nazdrol bin Wan Muhammad Nasir to receive the souvenir. And next, please welcome Dr. Jati Kasuma bin Ali to receive the souvenir. We would like to thank Saudara Muhammad Hafizul Dato' Ahmad for presenting the souvenirs.